Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Vendors, suppliers, or other persons seeking hospital contracts awarded on a competitive basis are reminded that their ability to address the board may be restricted by the terms of the invitation for bid, request for proposal, or the other purchasing criteria. Lastly, the board has established a claims adjustment review panel comprised of representatives of the board, the medical staff, administration, and legal counsel to review and negotiate the settlement of claims. Accordingly, the board will not entertain comments or discuss or negotiate claims at this meeting. Can I get an approval of the orders of the day?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. And can I get an approval of the minutes of the meeting on July 23rd, 2024?
So moved.
Okay. Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. We have no board reports, so David, if you will announce our Excel winners.
Madam Chair, I am happy to report we have 2 Excel Award winners, our July and August, to recognize today, and I'm going to start by inviting Stephanie to come up with me. Stephanie, come on up. Congratulations again. Let's stand up here. There you go. All right. So Stephanie Denton is an RN on a cardiac progressive 3 on 7th Floor Guard, and she's been a team member at SMH since 2021. She, through her versatility and expertise, has shown through every day since. She's done an incredible job of stepping into different roles on the unit, from filling in for cardiovascular RN clinicians to coaching new graduates. She demonstrates a commitment to outstanding patient care in everything she does. Colleagues describe Stephanie as a confident and caring nurse who is admired and respected by her peers and her patients. Thanks to her thorough attention to detail and her exceptional expertise in critical thinking, she can predict when something is amiss with a patient. She also displays great empathy and compassion to help ease patient anxiety. As her colleagues sum up, Stephanie does not just fulfill her duties as a nurse, she excels. Stephanie, thank you once again for everything you continue to do for our patients and community, and congratulations.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to those who nominated me. It's a pleasure working here. I enjoyed all the different roles I do on 7th Courtyard. Just thank you for letting me work here and take care of the community.
Thank you. Congratulations.
We also have the opportunity to recognize our August Excel Award winner, and I think you all know now, Mike Chivarley. Of course, forever known as Caroline Mike C. Right? So Mike, as you all know, because he works so closely with our board, is our senior desktop engineer in information systems. He's been an employee and team member of Sarasota Memorial since 2012 and provides outstanding IT support to the administration and the hospital board. Those who work with them report that Mike truly personifies grace under fire. His technical expertise and his people skills are excellent, and his professionalism is unmatched. He stands ready to promptly address any challenges, stays late if meetings run long, and quickly adjusts to changing circumstances. Whether a meeting takes place through a WebEx or in person, Mike makes sure everything functions correctly and smoothly. He can truly fix anything. Board members think of Mike as one of their own team, and he takes time to help them with their IT needs and always has a smile on his face. Mike, thank you so much for everything you do for everyone.
Thanks, I appreciate everything. Huge honor. Thank you to my team, and just want you to know there was a lot of hard work and countless hours of sucking up to get here. Seriously, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Madam Chair. I would ask for a motion approving the Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Sarasota, delineation of privileges updates for pediatric medicine, advanced practice professionals, and for pulmonary medicine, as recommended by the SMH Sarasota Medical Executive Committee.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Great, that passes. Thank you. Next up, Dr. Perry.
We'll ask for a motion approving Sarasota Memorial Hospital Venice delineation of privileges updates for pediatric medicine, advanced practice professionals, as recommended by SMH Venice Medical Executive Committee.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Sorry about that. Sharon, would you go through our secretary's report, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have the agenda for the SMH Board calendar for October and November 2024. On Tuesday, October 29, 2024, at 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., we have a closed session hospital board meeting. At 9:30 to 11 a.m., we have a quality committee. And then on Tuesday, November 19, 2024, that's our board's annual meeting. It's the third Tuesday due to Thanksgiving the following week. So from from 9 till noon, our annual Governance Effectiveness Committee meeting will be held. From noon to 12:30, we have a closed session of the hospital board meeting. From 12:30 to 2 o'clock, we have our board lunch with issue and financial review. And at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we have our board meeting. That's the end of my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Sharon. Next up, Bridget, with our treasurer's report, please.
I move approval of the bed debts and charity care for the month ended July 31st, 2024, in the amount of $27,357,000. In the month ended August 31st, 2024, in the amount of $24,674,000.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, motion passes. Next up is Jeff Lindbacher, our CFO, with his report.
Okay, looking for a clear or an answer. Sorry. This will be information through August, so 11 months of our fiscal year, one more month to close the books for the year. Thank you. This first graph is our total revenue for August and year to date. On the left side is the month to date. So we had the bar all the way to the left, 169,887,000 of revenue versus a budget of 159,968,000. And on the right side, our year to date is right at 1.8 billion. Through August versus a budget of 1.681 billion year to date. Next slide is total expenses. Again, for the month and year to date, on the left is the month. Our actual in August was 156,969,000 versus a budget of 152,794,000. And our year to date to the set of bars in the box to the right, 1.670 billion year to date actual versus 1.596,804 billion on the budget. And then the resulting operating income again for the system. For the month it was 12,918,000 on a budget of 7,174,000. Which is an operating margin of 7.6 actual versus a budget of 4.5% for the month and year to date. Operating income of 136,570,000, which is 7.6% on a budget of 84,745,000, a budget of 5.0%.
Moving on to volume statistics. On the left side, these are all fiscal year-to-date numbers. Our average daily occupancy was 885 for the year, and versus a budget of 868. And then our admissions and observation cases, the total year-to-date is 73,690 on a budget of 69,279. The boxes on the lower left side of this sheet, our actual length of stay at Sarasota campus is 4.44, and our Venice campus is 3.75. Surgery cases year-to-date, 30,548 versus a budget of 29,992. And our burst on the set of graphs to the right is 4,416 on a budget of 4,103. Outpatient ER statistics, on the left side is outpatient registrations. Our year-to-date actual is 550,149, a budget of 552,716. Our emergency center registrations, 160,453 on a budget of 163,281. And then finally, our case mix. If you look all the way to the right, the fiscal year-to-date 2024, our case mix index for Sarasota campus for all patients is 1.83. For Medicare-only patients, it's 1.90. And then the last two bars on the right is Venice, all patients 1.48 versus Medicare only at 1.50. That concludes my presentation, unless there's any questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this morning we met with our joint finance and audit committees as well as our mission and planning. So we'll start off with you, Sharon, if you could go over our joint finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this morning, the Finance and Audit Committee met jointly, as Sarah had said. And the minutes of the July 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Finance Committee were approved, as were the minutes of the January 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Audit Committee. Next, Todd Webster from KPMG presented the audit plan and strategy for the external audit of the fiscal year 2024 financial statements of the Sarasota County Public Hospital District. He reviewed their risk assessment, plan deliverables and timeline, and their independence. No motion is necessary for that. Next, Todd Naz, Executive Director of Audit Services, provided an update on internal audit projects. Part of the presentation was given by Tripp Chandler and Brent Wilcox of Protivity LLC relating to audit procedures performed by Protivity on the construction invoices. Again, no motion necessary. For the internal audit, all findings discussed were considered to be low risk. Management has initiated corrective action plans for all the findings. Again, no motion is necessary. Next, Todd Naz also reviewed the proposed audit services annual audit plan for 2024-2025. I now move approval of the 2024-2025 audit service annual audit plan as recommended by the audit and finance committees.
Get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
And that concludes my report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Next up, Greg Parker, will you go over our mission and planning report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mission and Planning Committee met this morning. There was one approval on the agenda. Pam Ramhofer, Chief Information Officer, and Jeff Limbacher, Chief Operating and Financial Officer, presented on the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System electronic medical record and enterprise system proposal. The presentation included additional detail and updates to the July 23rd presentation, in which the board provided positive feedback and support towards moving to a new system. The presentation began with Ms. Ramhoffen's reviewing the current SMH landscape and then discussing some of the key clinical quality and financial benefits of Epic. The presentation concluded with Mr. Lindbacher reviewing cost projections and transitioning of Epic and the risk associated. The switch from the current EHR and Epic will be a 2-year process with an estimated go live before fall 2026. At this time, I move approval for the funding of the transition to the enterprise platform Epic in an amount not to exceed $142,000 in capital expense over 5 years, as recommended by the Michigan Planning Commission.
And just as a point of clarification, I think it's under $42 million.
142 million. My mistake. Yeah.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Vic, did you have something? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
I want to note that the committee unanimously expressed interest in receiving regular updates as the project progresses, and I look forward to those. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Brent. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead. And next we have David Garrett for president report.
Madam Chair, I am happy to go through my monthly report, and we are going to start, like we do each month, with the organizational report card. And as you are very familiar at this point, we have 5 different areas that we take a look at each month, and it's out of service, people, quality, finance, and growth. And we have the area of concentration on the far left, the goal in the middle, and our actual score on the far right. I will note that this is the last month before the end of our fiscal year, so we're pretty sure these are the numbers are going to settle out for the year. So in the service area, we have our goals having our likelihood of recommending having 8 or out of 10 areas greater be in the 75th percentile or greater. Happy to report that all 10 of our areas we survey are in the greater than or equal to 75th percentile, and I'll share the details of that with you in a minute. The next area of concentration is that of people. We have our goal of having all those who've been hired within since September 30th or in the past fiscal year, still employed by the end of the year, having 83% of those still with us. I'm happy to report that we're exceeding that as well at 87.59%. In the concentration of quality, our goal is to have our combined overall standardized infection rate less than 0.8. Happy to report we are exceeding that as well at 0.5. Just to remind the board members that the national average on that is 1.0, so we already set our goal fairly aggressively at 0.8, so very happy with the result and proud of our team. Finance, you heard our CFO, Jeff Lindbacher, give that report already. We have a goal of having our operating margin to be at our budget at 5%. We are projecting that to be in excess of that at 7.3% for the year. And then finally, in the growth category, we have 2 goals. One being inpatient admissions and observation outpatients being at 75,456 per year, and we are projecting to exceed that as well at 80,277. And our outpatient registrations being at 1.18 million, and we're projecting to exceed that as well at 1.197. Moving to the details on the patient experience report card. Once again, we surveyed 10 different areas throughout the year. We have a likely, and you see those 10 on the left-hand side of the sheet. In the middle is our score that we've gotten, and then to the next to that is the national median score, and then finally to the far right is the 75th percentile score, which is what we compare ourselves to. So happy to report that in all 10 areas, we either met or exceeded the 75th percentile, and I just want to thank our staff for all our work to make that happen. Thank you, Sharon. SMH achieves federal government's highest five-star quality rating. Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System's flagship Sarasota campus has been awarded and received its five-star quality rating from the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for the 9th consecutive year. Nearly 5,000 U.S. hospitals evaluated, roughly 8% earned the highest five-star rating during this 2024 update. SMH Sarasota remains the only hospital on the Suncoast to attain the five-star rating this year, and is one of just 17 hospitals in the nation, and only one in Florida to repeatedly earn 5 stars ever since CMS started rating programs back in 2016. We must be doing something right. Star ratings are based on hospital quality indicators in 5 categories: safety of care, readmissions, patient experiences, mortality outcomes, and timely and effective care. SMH Venice, which opened in late 2021, received a 4-star rating in 2024, the first time the new hospital was eligible for review. Although I would argue that they didn't have complete data, and I look forward to an updated score for next year. Sarasota County Public Hospital receives an A1 rating from Moody's. A1 rating report from Moody's includes the following forecast highlights. It's a leading position in a fast-growing market with high demand and supports excellent performance. Strong liquidity and cash flow supports continued consistent expansion. And the ad valorem tax levy supports financial performance, especially given rising property values, offering the Moody's write-up. I will say that A1 is the in the top 5% of all hospitals in the nation as well. Forbes ranks SMH among America's best in-state employers. Sarasota Memorial has been named by Forbes this year as to this year's list of America's best in-state employers. To create the list, Forbes partnered with the market research firm Statista. I'm not saying that right. It surveyed more than 160,000 employees working for companies with at least 500 employees. Surveyed participants were asked how likely they were to recommend their employer on a scale of 0 to 10 based on efforts their employers made to keep staff engaged, satisfied, and productive. Companies that received the highest scores in each state landed on Forbes' list of America's best in-state employers in 2024. In all, 1,294 organizations representing a wide range of industries across the nation were recognized. Forbes also named SMH among America's best employers for women in 2024. Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System has once again been named as one of America's best employers for women, ranking number 7 in the nation. Forbes, in collaboration with that same company, identified the 600 best employers for women through the extensive independent survey of more than 150,000 working women working for companies with at least 1,000 employees across a range of industries in the U.S. The surveyed employees representing more than 20 industries were asked to share opinions about their respective employers' culture, image, opportunities for career development, working conditions, salary, wages, and diversity. Overall, SMH ranks at number 7 among the 600 companies recognized and number 3 in healthcare and social services sector nationally. Sarasota pulmonologist, join FPG. Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System is pleased to welcome Lung Associates of Sarasota into First Physicians Group. With over 30 years of experience in pulmonary critical care and sleep medicine, Lung Associates of Sarasota has delivered exceptional care for conditions such as pulmonary hypertension, lung cancer, and sleep apnea to residents of the Suncoast. The Lung Associates team will continue to provide the specialized care patients have come to expect and rely on, but now with the backing of SMH and longstanding commitment to providing comprehensive care to the growing community. Aside from the practice name change to First Physicians Group Pulmonology, their transition is designed to be seamless for patients. The pulmonology group will continue caring for its patients at both their current Sarasota and Venice locations. We have our podcast that's been recently updated, and the current episode is on we discuss clinical research. The latest episode of HealthCast features Dr. Kurt Volker, a practicing pulmonologist and medical director of Sarasota Memorial's Healthcare Systems Clinical Research Center. Dr. Volker discusses what patients can expect if they participate in drug and device trials and what they should know before they sign up. He also addresses the construction of the new Kachowski Research and Education Institute at SMH and what this resource means for our local patients. As always, we have 3 lectures that are different various physicians focus on during the month. This is for our cancer treatment. We have a whole list of the physicians that you can see on the screen. I would just invite you to go to our website and RSVP for our free lecture series and get to meet some of these incredibly gifted physicians. And that is my report, Madam Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. We have no consent agenda, so we will go on to public comments. But to start off, I just wanted, as a follow-up to the July meeting, the board is going to discuss the current guardrails we have in place regarding a change of the control over the healthcare system at a governance committee workshop. It will be publicly noticed and agended, so watch the board calendar for that. We have 8 speakers today, so speakers will be limited to 5 minutes instead of 3. And just if you could remember the rules of civility and that you will not interrupt as we are running out of time because of the top of the clock. The clock will be on there, so just keep an eye on that, and we'll just try to be respectful of everybody. First speaker is Lisa Roulette, followed by Ruth Brandon White. Ruth, you're passing? Yes. Okay, thank you. So following Lisa will be Allison. Thank you.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm free to speak out about patient care concerns without fear of losing board certifications, which is something that's happening to the best doctors across the country. I also don't have to fear losing hospital privileges by speaking out. And I hope this board takes an active role in making sure that any doctors who do speak out in the name of patient safety retain full privileges and are actively protected by this board. I've been informed that a very vocal doctor was taken off the Quality Improvement Board because, as I'm told, she asked questions about the COVID protocols and standard of care. It's concerning to me to hear this because she reports highly successful COVID patient outcomes that she says are superior to this hospital's outcomes, according to the community report. I'm not a doctor, and I'm also not a hospital board member. So I don't have to divide my attention across a wide range of topics like audits and investment rates and construction. I'm a mom, I'm a neighbor, I'm a friend, I'm a voter, and I'm someone with a deep faith that we are called to act in a spirit of love and help each other when we can. And this keeps me laser focused on what our hospital needs to do to make sure patients here don't fall through the cracks, because they still are. This helps me bring to your attention areas of concern, because concerns about patient care are a huge part of what you're called to do here as well. As quoted under the duty of quality oversight, take corrective action to improve quality performance when appropriate and necessary. So your duty to take corrective action to improve quality performance, doctor's duty to first do no harm, and my duty to alert you to red flags where patients are falling through the cracks all converge when addressing how the hospital and this board handles situations where patients do fall through the cracks and when it appears they have been wronged. One of the most famous examples, I have an idea for how to resolve one of the most well-known examples, which is Dr. DeFonte's case. So Bridget is a nurse here, and she has agreed to review his records. After the March meeting, Patty had mentioned as well that she was willing to hear concerns. So what I'd like to do is meet individually with each board member and walk through my concerns. And if you think they're valid, then each board member can write in questions they have to the hospital and get a response back. And then in October, you have a quality committee meeting. And so if you have any unresolved questions, you can discuss at that quality meeting what you'd like to do to address that. I think it would be wonderful because all we have to go on right now, I went through all his records. I have huge concerns about what happened to him, how it was handled when he wrote into the hospital, let them know. I have concerns about his complaint not getting escalated. I have concerns about how it was addressed and called standard of care, but there's no explanation that makes any sense to me. So I think this would be wonderful to put it in each of your 9 hands so you can look at it. I can go through the questions with his consent. The other thing is he has told me that his top priority is fixing this to help patients, and he has told me that he is willing to sign a waiver releasing liability, if that helps facilitate things. So I'll let you guys coordinate that. He just wants to get this addressed, because we can't, I saw his records. They're really concerning. They make no sense to me. And we can't just have resolution be standard of care where nobody has any answers at all. So I'm hoping we can put it in your hands. You can also see, yes, that's a valid concern. I'd like to hear what that was too, and then you can escalate and address as needed. And then I have a bonus 30 seconds since we have 5 minutes left. And so what else I'd like to say is that another area that we share in common is informed consent. And the Florida Department of Health issued recently new COVID guidelines for the COVID vaccine, and I'd be very interested in hearing how those guidelines, where it says do not use the mRNA COVID vaccine, I'm very interested in hearing how that's going to be incorporated in hospital policy. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Next is Allison, followed by Susan Sweet.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I just want to address the board here and inform you, you may have already know this, that the FDA recently approved the ACAM 2000 for the Mpox live virus vaccine. I'm assuming that you all know about this, or there's been some sort of communication to physicians and nurses and medical staff. The FDA has admitted that there are serious complications, including myocarditis, pericarditis, encephalitis, fetal death, etc., resulting in death or disability. Additionally, the manufacturer has also filed with the WHO to have this vaccine, ACAM 2000, be added to the emergency use listing for Mpox. I'd like to just remind the board and the physicians and nurses here that these vaccine manufacturers actually have no liability, and that is according to 42 U.S. Code 300 AA-22. So this is all kind of outlined actually in the manufacturer's actual vaccine insert, so I would encourage the staff and the board members to read that. Additionally, the insert acknowledges that vaccine shedding is real, as it states that pericarditis, myocarditis, encephalitis, along with death and disability, can be shared with the unvaccinated when they become in close contact with the vaccinated. In essence, this medical injection can be shed by the vaccinated without informed consent. I know that we should hold that all very sacred, and I know this hospital has outlined that in their code of conduct, and also in their medical staff rules and regulations. So this is also outlined again in section 5.1 of the insert for the ACAM 2000. To me, this is unacceptable. My questions are for the board and for the medical community at large is, will SMH place this warning to the community via its website and newsletter? Will SMH be informing the community if they begin injections here in the community? Will or have they been providing required VAERS training? I believe that was a request from the community at the beginning of this year in January, and to the staff so that we can capture any of these adverse events or deaths for both the vaccinated and unvaccinated. And lastly, how does SMH plan to track the vaccine's death or disability into the unvaccinated without informed consent? So I think that there's a couple of areas that SMH as a community hospital should address. We would really appreciate your expertise and your continued guidance to inform the public and also protect them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Susan Stevens, followed by Tom Sykes.
I will take as long as 5 minutes. My name is Susan Sweet. This is my first time speaking on behalf of my community of the medical freedom refugees that moved from New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. I am here, as Lisa mentioned, in light of the latest guidance from Surgeon General for Dr. Latipo and the Florida Public Health Department regarding the COVID-19 mRNA injections. That was released about a week ago. I'm hoping everyone here, maybe by a raise of hands, has seen that, because it was directed to you, and nurses, and pharmacists. So my question is simple. Knowing that there's multiple studies that have shown negative vaccine effectiveness, and after a few months, those that have been and received the mRNA vaccine have appeared to increase risk of COVID infection, and the safety profiles, as we now see in the data, is terrible. When will SMH put this notice up on its website? If we're talking about true informed consent, it is of your duty as a board to make sure that the public is aware of this notice. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Tom Sykes, followed by Vicki Knight-Swander.
Good afternoon, commissioners and board members. I am Tom Sykes. I am with the Florida Sarasota County General General Assembly, and we have been reconvening as of April of last year. We've been in operation for approximately 18 months. Our job as the Assembly is to be an oversight from constitutional perspectives, and we're here looking at the constitutional proficiency of Sarasota County. We've started our investigation last year. We've sent out over 250 notices to the different elected officials, all 59 elected officials in Sarasota County, and we're looking for the constitutional required documents such as your bonds and your oaths and your unencumbered property. And what we're discovering is that Sarasota County is not any different from the state of Florida or for this country right now, in the fact that they are ignoring the constitutional founding. And our founding fathers and constitutions are not being adhered to in this county. And as we start moving forward, we've also convened a common law grand jury. We've had training for the last 18 months in that jury, and we're ready to start moving and listening and hearing cases. If you're not aware of, Anthony Scalia in the 1992 Supreme Court Justice has declared that he has declared that our common law grand juries are the highest form of government in this country that cannot be approached by any lawyer, any legislature, any governor, or any federal employee, because it is by we the people. And our job is to make sure that the people are not being offended, they're not being trespassed upon, and it is for us to notice the bodies that when you're out of bounds with the Constitution, we're going to notice that you're out of bounds and give you the opportunity to correct yourself and get back in bounds. And you're asking, well, what does that mean? And that's, well, Florida Constitution, Article 2, Section 5, Paragraph B, states very clearly that every state and county official shall give a bond. And when we look at that, none of the officials in Sarasota County have a surety bond for their position. Now, I know the Sarasota Charter and the Sarasota Memorial Charter both state that you are body corporates in your charters, and so as corporations, you may feel like the Constitution is not your purview to follow, but we also bring up the point of Florida statutes. You've got 157.07 or 155.07 and 09 that states the chairman and the chairman pro tem, the secretary and the treasurer, and those offices pro tem all are required to have bonds filed with Florida statutes. So you're not following the Florida statutes, you're not following the Constitution. So just as we are beginning to make some changes and look at that, we're the first county in Sarasota and Florida to become a de jure county. We're still moving in that direction. We've got 66 other counties that are following the process. We've got 7 that are actively pursuing assemblies in their counties now. And we're returning back to where our original forefathers found. And that's government by we the people and not corporate board members. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vicki Knightswander, followed by John Capel. Fantastic. Thank you, Vicki. John Capel.
Thank you. And thank you for giving 5 minutes. I'm not prepared for that, but I appreciate that you're doing that. A few years ago, I used to travel around the country teaching meditation in prisons. I did that work as an unpaid volunteer, often spending my own money. One of the prisons I went to on a regular basis housed Al-Qaeda terrorists. Another prison I went to housed John Gotti. His wife was there when I went there one time, a notorious mobster. And that same prison now houses P. Diddy, who's been alleged to be a child trafficker and probably working as an FBI asset. I had many beautiful experiences doing this, going to prison, because the men that came to the program were sincere and grateful. However, unlike many board members, they accepted responsibility for their bad deeds and were contrite, humble, and grateful. That is more than I can say for most of the board members here, not all. A number of men who came to the program had committed murder. When I went to these prisons, ironically, I felt safe, even when I was alone in a room with them. However, what is really sad is that I do not feel safe coming to this hospital, which has become worse than a prison. It has become a place where the hospital enriches itself at the expense of its patients. And I know that the hospital does some good work after the pandemic, but you haven't accepted responsibility for what you did during the pandemic. During the pandemic, if a patient was unvaccinated, you stopped them from getting food or water, you forced the poison, yes, the poison remdesivir on them, and you forced a respirator on them, and you wouldn't allow their loved ones to be with them in the time of need. I was naive when I thought there would be a fair election in Sarasota. I actually was one of the political refugees, medical refugees that the previous speaker mentioned. I came from New York, and so I was like, these guys basically, in my view, stole the last election here at the board. For just like the election was stolen from President Trump. So, did you guys cheat in this last election? You said you were the health freedom candidates. That's pretty ironic considering that you didn't like when we speak up, letting you know what you did wrong. And you know what you did wrong. You stole our medical freedom slogan. You lied when you said you were endorsed by Governor DeSantis. For us, medical freedom is a gift from God, not a phrase to steal votes. I question your integrity and your ethics. I have arranged for Surgeon General Ladapo to come to Sarasota to speak within the next few weeks. I will be telling him how this board refuses to put his warning to not take the COVID bioweapon, also, in your words, the COVID vaccine, because it's unsafe. You won't put it up on your website. Is that a political, financial, or scientific decision? Dr. Francis Boyle, the scientist who wrote the bioweapons legislation that was passed unanimously by Congress in 1986, said that the COVID vaccine is a bioweapon, and he would know. And when was the last time anything passed unanimously in Congress? I'm sure you know better than the Harvard-educated Surgeon General of Florida, Surgeon General Ladapo. According to the Bears, there have been 38,000 deaths and 2.6 million adverse events due to the COVID vaccine, also known as the COVID bioweapon. Why do you discourage your doctors from documenting the harmful effects of the COVID bioweapon? Would a good Christian do this? I don't think so. This vaccine is changing the human genome. It's creating nanotechnology within the body. And, I heard that this is true, that the head of the ER recently got a blood clot, which is not surprising, because she probably took the bioweapon, which causes blood clots. So why do you continue to deny the harm from this bioweapon? Thank you.
Next up is Sherry Weinstein.
Back. So I have been out. I've been away from the meeting for a while, and I'm sorry to say I had to take care of some personal things, like making sure that I sat again for the boards of internal medicine. Some doctors at this hospital don't have to sit for the boards of internal medicine if they've been on staff since prior to 2009, and I have been on staff since 2001. And but I did sit the boards of internal medicine again. This is good for another 10 years. And happy to say I passed with flying colors. I wasn't concerned about it because, of course, I know how to study and do all the answer the questions the way they want an answer. I also went ahead and got board certification from the National Board of Physicians and Surgeons, so I'm triple board certified, but that doesn't matter.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I don't know if you can hear me, but we've lost audio. There's no sound coming through. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, we're working on that.
So what I learned from sitting for the boards again was American Board of Internal Medicine does not discuss how or when or where or why to report any adverse drug reactions. not at all. And that's very sad, because these are, we do know that some of the leading causes of death are actually accidents, physician accidents and iatrogenic deaths. And some of those are caused because of medication, so we need to actually be reporting this. I was delighted to see the newsletter that our chief of staff, Sarah, put out that talks about, hey, did you know that adverse drug reactions, the World Health Organization really defines an adverse drug reaction as any response to a drug which is noxious and unintended and which occurs or does at doses used in human prophylaxis, diagnosis, or treatment. Okay? Adverse drug reactions are used to improve patient care. Data collected with the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee in assessment of the drug use can provide help for the formulary changes, procedural changes, protocol changes, i.e. like COVID protocols, and staff education, to name a few. So we, in the newsletter it talks about, unfortunately, we only had very low adverse drug reporting, 137 reports in 2023, so that's very low. And according to the report, we had only 3 vaccine adverse events to the COVID shots in our community report, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 18 months or 2 years of time, so we had 3 vaccine adverse events. This is far below what the world is reporting, so we're not really good at reporting this. We need to work on this. I've asked multiple times that we have sufficient, adequate vaccine adverse event reporting at this hospital. There's no reason why we shouldn't, unless we're hiding something, unless we don't want people to know the truth. There was a company called the VAERS Project, which came and volunteered. I was going to pay them to do grand rounds to teach our staff how to report vaccine adverse events, and I was told that the administration would not allow that. That's concerning to me. Okay, so this talks about if a patient experienced an adverse drug reaction, we ask nurses to report the event. When in doubt, it is better to report than not report. So I have several patients that are nurses from this hospital that were forced to get the COVID vaccine shots, okay? COVID shots, we'll call them. And they are dealing now with stage 4 cancers. There was actually a beautiful movie that just came out, it's called Vaxxed 3, A License to Kill, put out by the Children's Health Defense. And some of my patients were actually featured in this movie because it is clear cut that they were healthy people before they got these vaccines. And now they're dealing with stage 4 cancers. Their cancers were never reported to the vaccine adverse event reporting site. So I will close with an update. We just had a beautiful Lancet study published March of 24, 1,900 patients, and the gist of it, they used fluvoxamine, which was forbidden to be used in Sarasota Memorial Hospital, cyprohexidine, an antihistamine, and niclosamide, which is an anti-parasitic, a worm medicine, a dewormer, similar to ivermectin, which was also prevented at this hospital. But they showed no hospitalizations, no deaths, no long COVID in 1,900 patients. Why were we blocking this treatment?
Thank you. Caroline, next we'll move on to our legal report. Caroline, do you have anything?
I do not.
Do we have any other business that needs to be discussed? Okay. With that said, our meeting is adjourned.